So much. Back, not too bad. Hello, hello, hello. Tuning in for another interview entertainment, and we're here together with another interview on philanthropy at its best. Thank you guys so much for your support. Thank you guys so much for your subscriptions and everything that you do, allowing us to move forward in this. We cannot do what we do without your support. We want to thank our sponsors. We want to thank heart2heartb.org. We want to thank USC Black Alumni Association. We also want to thank the Moreland Greenwood Foundation for your partnership, for your sponsorship. If you too want to sponsor with us, please reach out to us at our official website at King Solomon Entertainment TV, and please connect with us about how you can partner with us and how you can move forward in what we're building here on King Solomon Entertainment. We also want to ask if you want to support us directly. We are on Venmo, King Simon Entertainment, and we are also on Cash App, $, capital J, capital L, capital C, lowercase LAYBON, and you can support us directly. Thank you guys so much for your support, and we have another great interview today, and we're so excited for having you with us on today. Candace Yonder from the Matthew Silverman Memorial Foundation. We're so excited to have her today. She's the executive director, and she's going to be talking to us about the wonderful, wonderful things that they do at that organization. But before we start, we're going to make sure everybody has our social media handles and make sure you have the correct one. So please follow us on Twitter at King Simon Entertainment Company and Media Group. Also, lowercase on Twitter. Please follow us. King Solomon Entertainment Company on Facebook and King Solomon Entertainment Company on Instagram. Underscore in between every letter and ending it at CO underscore. Beginning with the underscore as well. And also on YouTube, James Craven Interviews. Thank you guys so much for your support. The numbers are up. We appreciate all your help. Subscribe, share this video, and follow. So now we're going to get ready to start our interview with the great executive director of the Matthew Silverman Memorial Foundation. And we're going to start now. Thank you guys so much. Hello, Ms. Candace Silverman. Please, we're going to allow you to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Candace Yonder. I am, the executive director of Matthew Silverman Memorial Foundation. We started our foundation because in 2006, my brother-in-law's only son died by suicide. And we realized that, back in 2013, mental health was not talked about enough, and our youth was not learning about it. And so we really wanted to do something to ultimately prevent suicide, but also to really just promote wellness and allow our teens and these young adults to grow in the best way possible that they can.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much. So again, you told you in your intro, you said how it all got started. Your brother committed suicide. Now, everybody is focusing on mental health, the aspect of mental health, depression, stress, all these different things. And in hindsight, looking back, were there signs? Were there signs? Did you guys notice the signs? What are the signs of it?
So it's actually kind of an interesting story because for a lot of years, my brother-in-law said there were no signs at all. And I didn't know Matthew. I did not have that pleasure of knowing him, but I feel like I do know him. After I interviewed all of his friends, everybody he went to school with when we first started the foundation, the signs were there. And I think that was the scariest part, was that whether or not he always said there was no signs, there were no symptoms. And now he's since told the story and he said, I just didn't have the education. I didn't know what I was looking for. I thought it was a normal depression. Because what ultimately led to it was the breakup of his high school sweetheart. So it's like, what teen doesn't go through that and feel depressed? There's a lot deeper. And that's what we noticed, and that's what we're trying to promote in the change.
Yes, and so and understanding that and growth, and now becoming more aware of the signs. What has been the focus of the Matthew Silverman Foundation, Memorial Foundation, and the cultivation of the Memorial Foundation? What has been the focus?
So our focus is trying to educate middle school aged kids, high school aged kids, their parents, and all faculties that go with it. And the end goal is suicide prevention, but if you look at it this way, you have like a healthy adjusted teenager, and then you have somebody suicidal. So we really have to work on all this in between, which can be anxiety or trauma or just wellness overall. I think one of the first things I learned was the definition of mental health. Because if you look it up, mental health isn't having a problem, it's how you handle your problems. So we have to teach everybody how to handle our problems, and that includes adults, since we don't focus on all of these, different aspects. So what I really try to do is we take the school and the community and we customize everything we do to the school, because somebody that is in the suburbs may not be experiencing something in the inner city. So we really have to do a focus. It can't just be a universal approach. It has to be customized to the demographics and what they're feeling and what's happening in their lives.
And customizing from school to school and doing an assessment per where you are and the years you guys been doing this. What are some of the discoveries? What are some of the triumphs you guys have experienced as a result of you starting this foundation?
So what we've experienced is that our youth are facing a lot of very unique challenges. I always try to drill in everybody's head that we don't know what other people are going through. So, one aspect is, social media. In the last 10 years, youth suicide has risen by about 56%. And that's neck and neck with social media. And what we're learning is that, all this instant gratification, being able to get anything you want at the touch of a button, it's actually raising anxiety. Now, social media can actually really, really help your mental health as well, but they're facing these things that we've never faced. We didn't grow up with a highlight reel of everyone else's lives. When we weren't invited to the party or out with friends, we weren't watching how everyone else was out. And so, our kids have basically turned into these incredible actors because they're used to just broadcasting their lives in a manner that's really not real at all. And so those are one of the major challenges. The other thing that I notice is that so many people do not take into account, intergenerational trauma and all these things that our kids are facing that are passed, from parent to parent without ever really addressing their issues. So we really just need to get to the core of what's happening and focus on what that is. Including, knowing that our teens, they see what's going on in the country. They see everything that's happening. They see the social unrest, which I'm personally very glad it's happening. So as parents, we just need to know that we really need to focus on our specific teen and what they're going through, because our teens do worry about climate change. They do worry about COVID. They do worry about their friends. And it may seem insignificant to us, but this is their future. So really honoring what our kids are going through, because let's face it, the world is an intense place right now.
Yes, we're here with the Matthew Silverman Memorial Foundation with Candace Yonder, the executive director, bringing awareness and information to a lot of suicide prevention, as well as all other signs that entails it. We're so happy to have her here today and to educate us and to bring us up to speed on the latest in that. And so we're so excited to have her today. And we also wanted to ask you in regards to you working with, like you said, school systems and the youth. Have there been any cooperation and as far as legislative and getting them to understand how important this is, any changes as far as legislative and working with the city and the government in this regard?
Yes, so right now we don't take any government money or contracts. We pay 100% of all the costs for the schools. And a lot of schools do not have the funding to do this. However, we do work with legislature. And in the state of California, a lot of incredible things have passed just in the last 5 years. Is it enough? No, it's not enough, but they're really trying and they are doing something about it. The other scary piece a little bit is that the state of California is doing incredible, but we do live in America and most states don't have the same legislation. So right now, everybody is required to give suicide prevention, age-appropriate suicide prevention education, but a lot of schools are to date with the legislation because they don't have the funds and the resources. So we
Yes.
pay for everything we can with the schools on our roster and just try to keep expanding it because how are schools going to keep up with legislation if they have zero money to do it? So that's a challenge we're facing.
So what is the goal? I know you guys are achieving your goal every day. I know the numbers are probably down. But what is the goal of the foundation? What is the heart of the foundation right now? What they want to see happen? What do you guys really head for right now? Any initiative? Any random? Anything you're working on right now? You're gonna move forward? Referendums and anything?
Yeah, so right now we're working on quite a few initiatives. With COVID hitting and us being in this pandemic, our initiatives, of course, have changed. Right now we're doing almost everything virtually as far as still educating the kids, getting them curriculum. Right now we have a special focus on athletes because athletes normally is one of the least at-risk categories, and right now they jump to the top of that risk. Like, for instance, football players. They're in high school. They're moving out of California at rates that are unprecedented, which is interesting because they're leaving their home, they're leaving their friends, they're leaving their school, they're leaving their community, plus they're risking death because they're willing to contract this in order to keep playing. And it's not just football players, it's all athletes. So that's one of our initiatives. Of course, we've always had a very heavy social justice focus. And so with everything going on, I mean, it's really sad that it's come to this, but it's also an exciting time because right now we're trying to engage youth and really change this culture. And so as we can talk about systematic racism, as we can talk about all these things and educate our youth, then our youth understand what's happening and they can cope better to promote change. So I'm really trying to make the most of this time because it's so unique and it's a way for us to push our mission without having to really change too much other than really just go full speed ahead.
Yes. So also I wanted to ask in this regard, when you think about a loved one who's depressed, a loved one who's internalizing a lot of stuff and not very vocal, and you don't know how in depth it really is to the point of suicide. We often think, of course, the tragedy is loss, but also something happens to the loved ones and the family as well. Um, what have you guys created that focus on that, like the grieving process, or the family dealing with the loss of stuff? No.
Yes, so we're kind of in the business of prevention, and this field is very important to have one focus. So we really focus on the prevention, and then for the aftermath, because unfortunately, of course, you can't prevent every suicide. We have a good track record, but it's largely preventable. So we have a team that we work with, like Team Mine will go in and do aftercare. Dee Hirsch Mental Health Services here in Los Angeles, they have incredible groups for the survivors of, a family member that died by suicide. So at that point, we just try to support the school and the community, and we give them the resources that they need, since it's hard to think when a tragedy like that's happened and to find the resources yourself.
Wow. Yes, you guys probably have referrals and organizations that deal with that particularly, so you can refer them to that place. But you guys have thought of all the components that this effect as a result is happening, and the target area and the age, the numbers are high. So you guys are really at the helm and on the front line of this, and we are so grateful because I know that the Silverman Foundation, the Memorial Foundation, has been doing this since 2007, 2008. I mean, you guys have been doing this for a long time. And so it's not a trend with you guys. It's something you guys have been committed to. It's personal for you guys. And so we just love the work that you guys are doing. And what is a misconception you would like to correct? What is something you want the audience to know that's listening today about the foundation?
Yeah, so as far as our foundation goes, if you need help, if you want prevention, if you want to have a presentation, call us. I'll definitely set that up. But as far as your personal lives, what I would want the audience to know, specifically males, but females as well, is that it's okay to be vulnerable. And it takes more strength to ask for help than it does to hide your problems. So asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of tremendous strength. And there's a lot of warning signs that we don't always know. Like as far as depression, it's always important for me to educate people because especially in males and then in teenagers and under, but it can really be at any age. You think of depression as somebody laying in bed and sad and crying. That can happen, but anger is a huge sign of depression and lashing out. And so many people think, oh, they have an anger issue or they have this or that, when indeed it is suicidal thought. My daughter had a near fatal suicide attempt a few years ago. And so I experienced firsthand how that anger plays out, because she didn't look like the depressed child. She looked like a very, very angry child, but it was the depression, driving that. She was about 14 at the time. She was in 9th grade. So just remember that the signs may not be as clear as you think, but if you have a gut feeling and you're worried about somebody, act on that gut feeling. Even if you think that you don't want to feel dramatic, it doesn't matter. You're saving a life. Just act on your gut and impulse and instinct.
Yeah, that is amazing. That is so amazing. And so we want to also ask you, how can people get involved? How can what you guys are doing at the Matthew Silverman Memorial Foundation? Please let them know. Let them know social media, how they can get in contact with you guys. Please let them know.
Absolutely. So all of our social media handles are at Matt's Foundation. Matthew was his name, so we shortened it. My email is very easy to find. It's Candace at mattsfoundation.org, but just go to our website. Even if you put in an online inquiry, I'm really good about getting back to them. So it's just www.mattsfoundation.org. And if you want to volunteer, if you want stuff for your community, let us know, because it's all free of charge. And, the more people that want to get involved, the more lives we can save.
So we just want to thank you and to sum up what we learned today as far as noticing the signs. And I'm grateful that I don't think it's as taboo as it once was. I'm hoping that now that we're talking about it, there's dialogue. And I'm hoping that it's not just a trend, that we really, really focus on the real trauma that people face every day and the undermining trauma that people internalize on themselves, and we don't pay attention to, and we kind of discredit it as something else. We undermine it. And so I just hope that knowing this and what you taught us today, that we're going to be more focused and maybe take more consideration and thoughtfulness about dismissing something so quickly.
Absolutely. I always try to remind people that our brain is an organ, so we have to take care of it just like our heart or anything else. It's an organ. So this can't be a fad. This is our lives.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being on the show. Definitely, guys, reach out, support, see how you can get involved. We thank you so much, Miss Candace, for being on our show today, and the foundation for the wonderful work that they're doing. Definitely reach out to us if you have not subscribed already on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Please follow us and subscribe as we continue to bring you wonderful content. Thank you for interviewing. With another interview. Thank you for joining us for another interview with Philanthropy at its Best, where we celebrate and honor humanitarian on the front line doing wonderful work, being a difference in our society, and making a difference. One person at a time, one project at a time. And the Matthew Silverman Memorial Foundation is no exception. They're doing wonderful work. Challenging as it is, I'm so grateful that this organization is committed to really decreasing these numbers and making a difference. Thank you so much for what you and the organization does, and keep up the great work. And definitely, we're going to be in touch soon. We're going to have you back on probably New Year sometime, and we just so thankful for you. And thank you for accepting this interview and everything. You've been so wonderful, so patient, so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.